The crisp white paper felt cold against Clara's fingertips. The contract. So much hope, so many dreams, all riding on her willingness to become a vessel for another couple's happiness. She reread the clause for the 10th time. Sex selection, male. The Sinclairs had been very clear. They wanted a son, a boy to carry on the family name, a boy to inherit their fortune. Weeks melted into months. Clara's belly swelled with the promise of life, the weight of the Sinclairs' expectations a constant pressure. The ultrasound showed a healthy baby, and each time, Mr. Sinclair would pat Clara's hand, his smile strained.
A boy, he'd say, his voice tight with hope. It has to be a boy.
Then came the day. The delivery room, a whirlwind of pain and relief. The doctor held up the child, swaddled in a hospital blanket.
Congratulations, she beamed. It's a beautiful baby girl.
Clara's heart stuttered. A girl? But how? The Sinclairs' faces were ashen, their joy replaced by a chilling emptiness. In that sterile room, amidst the scent of antiseptic and new life, a silent storm brewed, a storm that would forever alter the course of their lives. The Sinclairs were gone before the day was over. No goodbyes, no explanations, just a curt phone call from their lawyer informing Clara that they wanted nothing to do with the child. Their child. Clara's heart ached for the tiny life she now held, a life deemed unwanted, a miracle deemed a mistake. Clara named her Hope, a beacon in the darkness the Sinclairs had left behind. Life as a single mother was a whirlwind of sleepless nights and endless diaper changes, of laughter echoing in a home meant for three. But through it all, Hope thrived. She was a bright spark, her laughter infectious, her spirit strong. She never asked about the couple in the faded photographs, the ones Clara kept tucked away on the highest shelf. Clara would tell Hope stories of princesses and dragons, of brave knights and magical creatures filling her daughter's life with love and wonder, shielding her from the harsh truth of her unwanted beginning. Years tumbled by like fallen leaves in autumn. Hope blossomed, her intelligence matched only by her empathy. She excelled at school, her kindness making her a friend to all. Clara watched her daughter grow, her heart swelling with a fierce, protective love. Hope was her everything, the reason for her every breath, her anchor in the storm. Their bond deepened with each passing year, a silent understanding passing between them. Hope might not have been planned. She might not have been wanted by the ones who had brought her into the world, but she was loved fiercely, unconditionally, and without end. The crash was sudden, a cacophony of metal and glass. One minute, Clara and Hope were driving home from school, the car filled with laughter and the scent of freshly baked cookies. The next, the world was spinning, pain lancing through Clara's body. She regained consciousness to the sickening smell of gasoline and the frantic beeping of a car horn. Her vision blurred. She could see Hope struggling to free herself from her seatbelt, her small face pale with fear.
"Mommy!" Hope cried, her voice high with panic. "I can't get out!"
Panic surged through Clara. She tried to move, but a searing pain shot through her leg, pinning her in place. The car horn blared incessantly, a desperate cry for help. Flames licked at the edges of the shattered windshield, casting an eerie orange glow over the mangled interior of the car. Clara's heart pounded in her chest, fear turning her blood to ice. She strained against the seatbelt, her vision blurring. "Hope," she gasped, her voice hoarse. "You have to get out of the car, now!" But Hope didn't move. Instead, her 8-year-old daughter, her tiny body fueled by an unknown reserve of strength, reached for the metal bar wedged against the car door. With a grunt of effort, she pushed, the metal groaning in protest. The hospital room was sterile and white, the scent of antiseptic heavy in the air. Clara lay in bed, her leg encased in plaster, her body a tapestry of bruises, but it was the ache in her heart that hurt the most. A police officer had informed her that Hope, her brave, selfless Hope, had managed to pry open the car door just enough for both of them to escape. She had saved them both. As Clara recovered, visitors came and went, their voices hushed, their faces etched with concern. But it was the arrival of two strangers that turned Clara's blood to ice, the Sinclairs. Years of carefully erected walls crumbled at their sight. Mr. Sinclair, his hair streaked with gray, his face etched with a weariness Clara had never seen before, approached her cautiously. His eyes, once cold and calculating, were filled with a mixture of guilt and something else. Longing.
They had come to thank Hope, they said, their voices stiff and formal. They had heard about the accident, about Hope's bravery.
But Clara saw through their carefully constructed facade. The Sinclairs weren't there just to offer gratitude. They were there for something else, something that sent a shiver of dread down Clara's spine.
We want Hope back.
The words hit Clara like a physical blow. The Sinclairs had hired a team of lawyers, sharks circling their prey, ready to exploit every loophole in the surrogacy contract.
Clara was merely a vessel, a means to an end. The child rightfully belongs to us.
Clara fought back, her love for Hope fueling her every breath. She hired her own lawyer, a kind older woman with eyes that held the wisdom of countless battles won and lost.
We will not let them take Hope away from you, Clara. We will fight.
The courtroom became their battleground, the air thick with tension. Days turned into weeks, the legal battle dragging on. Clara spent her days in court, her nights haunted by nightmares of losing hope. The life she had built, the unbreakable bond she shared with her daughter, was hanging by a thread, at the mercy of a system that seemed determined to tear them apart. The emotional toll was immense. Hope, once so carefree, now walked with a shadow clinging to her heels. The uncertainty, the constant fear of being ripped away from the only mother she had ever known, was taking its toll. But through it all, Hope never blamed Clara, not once. The judge's gavel rapped against the sound block, silencing the murmurs that rippled through the courtroom. The air crackled with anticipation. This was it, the moment of truth. Clara held her breath as the judge, her face carefully neutral, began to speak. She spoke of legalities, of parental rights and contractual obligations, but her words seemed to wash over Clara, the weight of what was at stake pressing down on her chest.
Please don't take me away from my mommy.
The courtroom held its breath. Clara watched, her heart breaking for her daughter's pain, her love for Hope a tangible force in the room. Hope continued, her voice gaining strength with every word. She spoke of the life she shared with Clara, of the love, the laughter, the unwavering support. She spoke of the Sinclairs as strangers, of the fear that gnawed at her heart at the thought of being ripped away from everything she held dear. Her words, simple yet powerful, hung in the air, a testament to the unbreakable bond between a mother and daughter. Silence descended upon the courtroom as Hope finished speaking, her plea echoing in the hearts of everyone present. Even the Sinclairs, their faces etched with a mixture of emotions, remained silent. The judge called a recess, her gaze lingering on Hope for a moment before she disappeared behind the heavy wooden doors. The courtroom erupted in a cacophony of whispers and hurried conversations. Clara rushed to Hope's side, engulfing her daughter in a hug.
It's okay, sweetheart. Everything will be all right.
But even as she uttered the words, doubt gnawed at her heart. The Sinclairs' case was strong, their lawyers ruthless. Hope clung to Clara, her small body trembling. The Sinclairs sat apart, their faces pale and drawn. The years had not been kind to them. Their faces, once etched with a haughty indifference, now bore the marks of repeated failures. Clara learned from their lawyer that after abandoning Hope, they had tried numerous times to have another child, more surrogacies, countless IVF treatments, all unsuccessful. They had pinned all their hopes on a male heir, only to be left with nothing but emptiness and regret. Now, faced with the prospect of losing everything, they had come crawling back, hoping to reclaim the one miracle they had so carelessly discarded. As Clara watched them, a sliver of pity pierced through her anger. They were a portrait of misery, a testament to the destructive nature of their own ambition. But pity wouldn't save Hope. Only the law could do that. The wait for the verdict was agonizing. Days turned into an eternity, each tick of the clock a hammer blow to Clara's sanity. The courtroom was packed, the air thick with anticipation when the judge finally returned. Silence fell, heavy and absolute, as the judge began to speak. She spoke of the complexities of the case, of the emotional turmoil and the legal precedents. Her words washed over Clara, her mind struggling to keep up.
The court finds in favor of the defendant, Clara.
A collective gasp rippled through the courtroom. Clara's knees buckled, relief washing over her in a dizzying wave. She had won. Hope was safe. The Sinclairs, their faces ashen, remained seated, their dreams of reclaiming their daughter shattered. As Clara embraced Hope, tears of joy streaming down her face, she saw a flicker of something akin to acceptance in Mr. Sinclair's eyes. Perhaps in that moment, he finally understood the depth of the love he had so carelessly thrown away. Justice had prevailed, but it was a bittersweet victory. The The scars of the battle remained, a constant reminder of the fragility of their happiness. Life settled into a new normal. The shadow of the Sinclairs faded, their presence a distant memory. Hope, her spirit unbroken, continued to flourish. She excelled in school, her laughter once again filling their home. One evening, as they were curled up on the couch, reading their favorite book, Hope looked up at Clara, her eyes wise beyond her years.
Mommy, why did you fight so hard for me? Why didn't you let the Sinclairs take me? They were rich, they could have given me everything.
Clara looked at her daughter, her heart overflowing with love.
Because you're my daughter, and nothing is more precious to me than you. The Sinclairs might have given you material things, but they could never love you the way I do.
Hope smiled, her eyes shining with unshed tears. She snuggled closer to Clara, her small arms wrapping around her tightly.
You saved me first, Mommy. Now I saved you.
And in that moment, Clara knew that Hope was right. They had saved each other. They were a team, a family bound by a love that no court, no contract, no amount of money could ever break. They were proof that sometimes the greatest miracles come in the most unexpected of packages.